The Secrets of Disney is brought to you by the Star Quest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What's there, Mama?
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
How do you do?
How do you do what?
Show me the smile.
If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all.
Very nice. You can sit by me.
Everything's so wonderful.
Come on, get up. Come on, get up.
Where are we going?
Up to Neverland.
You must kiss me.
Excuse me?
Please, princess.
One kiss.
Unless you beg for more.
Hi there, and welcome to another Secrets of Disney on SQPN. My name is Deborah Shaban, and joining me today is David Henlos and Lisa Hendy.
Hello.
Hey.
We have a very interesting, I hope it's interesting, episode for you today, because it's a homebound interesting episode, because like everybody else, and maybe by the time this episode is released, things will be different, because they were different within a week of us recording the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
The last episode, I was completely wrong about a lot of things, including the fact that, oh, Disney will never close. Well, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
They closed. Everything closed. So it's been interesting to see what's going on there. And right now, everybody's at home, staying put, hopefully, and we are entertaining ourselves and maybe other people in our homes. And so I actually live alone, so I don't really have the problem of entertaining anybody but myself. But we're going to talk about our favorite, maybe Disney-related things that we're doing or that we can do in our house, and maybe our favorite Disney movies. So, how's things going over in your house, David? Because you have two little ones.
Well, this is no secret since this came out on Sunday early, but because of said quarantines, Disney Plus released Frozen 2 early to streaming, and my daughter is happy about that. She's not so happy about, being, can't go to school or see her friends, but she's been into the unknowing quite a bit. So
it's great you mentioned that, because I think at one point when we were talking about what are we going to talk about, I was going to mention Frozen 2 is like a very good movie to watch with your kids right now, because it handles a couple different themes. Have you all watched it? I don't know if Lisa's watched it.
I watched most of it now.
I haven't seen Frozen 2 yet. I'm excited, but it brings up the larger issue of I don't have Disney Plus yet, so this might be the perfect time.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who haven't watched it yet with your kids, and maybe David can help me with this if he's seen parts of it with his kids, tell you some of the themes that are very timely right now in that movie. One of them is change. Like, the movie starts off with like Olaf, like kind of acting pensive about how everything changes. And, and then Anna's in song form, of course, because it's Disney. Mm-hmm. In song form kind of reassures him that, yes, everything does change, but there are certain things that won't change, like, love and our feelings, of love towards each other, and that I'll be here for you and stuff like that, trying to reassure basically childlike fears in a sense, because Olaf goes through a couple different songs where he's like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm kind of scared. How do I explain this to myself, or how do I make sense of it? And I think that's something your kids might be, if you have children, might be grappling with right now.
Yeah.
It's something that all of us might be grappling with right now.
There is a great song Olaf does called "This Will All Make Sense When I'm Older."
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably the most satirical song in the movie, because he starts singing about all the things that are like happening, weird stuff happening around him, and all the scary things that he's experiencing, because it's just a weird he goes to an enchanted forest and they can't explain all these kind of supernatural things happening around him. And so he's making this little happy, this will all make sense when I'm older, and every day and any day this will all make sense. And I'm like, and I think that's probably one of those things that we tell young children is like, someday you'll understand this. But then the ironic part is when we're adults, we don't maybe understand it either.
No.
Do you have a sense, David, that do they kind of like get that things are different, or is it just pretty much just like business as usual and mom and dad are a little bit more home than they normally are?
They have the 7-year-old. She knows something's a bit different. She's pretty sharp. 4-year-old just kind of like, oh, I can't go to the store with you. Yeah, he's not getting that yet. We're only, it's only Thursday into so, they'll get it, but it's.
And do you typically work from home, or do you typically work in an office?
Look, I've been fortunate to be in a place where I work. I've been able to do both, and been very fortunate that they've moved us to the whole team remote in the past week.
Yeah.
But they're not like, Dad, you're still working from? Yes, I'm still working from home. That's gonna be a thing, dude.
Because I think that's one thing that a lot of people who don't typically work from home are grappling with if they have kids is, how do you fill the time? How do you fill their time? Because they're seeing you and it's like, oh, mom's home, so that means it's playtime, but mom's actually a lawyer and needing to do some work. My sister, who's an attorney at a firm in Chicago, she's home and she's really having a tough time with her junior high student who's just, trying to figure out, boundaries with all that. So I actually sent something over to them this morning that might be good to share with our listeners. I found it on the Khan Academy, and it's a unit called Disney Imagineering in a Box. And it's basically like an engineering unit. The description sounds super awesome. Have you ever wondered how theme parks come to life? Disney Imagineers from hundreds of career disciplines around the world share how they use a wide range of skills that all come together to create immersive experiences. So it's theme park design from the Khan Academy. Super cool.
That is really cool. There's a lot of weird videos coming out right now. If you're into Disney stuff, there's a lot of things going on right now. You can watch, obviously, all the vloggers still talking about Disney and doing home vlogs, which is interesting. But a lot of people have been recreating rides in their living room, and it's hysterical.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
So before we turned on the episode to record, I caught somebody's little video from Soarin'. If you're not familiar with Soaring, it's a ride that's at both California and in Walt Disney World, and it's like kind of like a hang glider simulator kind of ride, and it's very popular. And it's one of those rides you can do with everybody and not, it's good for everybody. But it has, really nice music and beautiful scenery and smells. Like they'll change the smells up. Like if you're flying over an orange grove, you smell oranges. And so this woman had her desk chair, and she raised her feet up off the floor, and her monitor was at her feet, and she had all these like screensavers flashing by and and the music, and she had a little little spray bottle of smells, and it was funny. It was cute. So there's stuff like that. You can always you can watch some of this on YouTube. Before we move on to another topic, you reminded me, Lisa, that you're doing something every morning too. Since we know what David's doing every morning and I've been working remotely, I see you're live streaming every day.
Yeah, I switched it to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, as I thought I was going to be doing this for 2 weeks, and now it seems that it may be for even longer than that. So on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, which is 1:30 Eastern, 12:30 Central, I'm doing something called Let's Talk About Storytelling. And it's basically, I'm trying my best to be in a Mr. Rogers-esque mode, like very interactive with kids who might be watching, to encourage reading, but especially writing and storytelling. So drawing, any form of storytelling. So every day we're going to have a prompt. The first couple days have been super fun. We did stuck inside for the first day, and the second day was about getting lucky because it was St. Patrick's Day.
That's right. Yeah, I watched a little of that.
Yeah, so like what can we do to encourage kids to be creative at a time like this? And my intention, although now it's happening that so many people are coming up with great, things for kids, like just what's something that you could plop your kids in front of for 30 minutes to give you a little break that would be definitely kid friendly. So that's what I'm doing. And it's been really fun. I'm using Be Live TV. If anybody hasn't checked that out, it's a super cool streaming service. And yeah, it's really fun. So you can catch a replay on YouTube too.
Cool. Actually, if you haven't noticed, there's a lot of really great streaming opportunities going on right now. Not just within our little social circle. Like we have SQPN. We've been doing some live streaming every day. Some little let's talk videos every day. And then since we're a Catholic organization, we have a lot of our friends who are priests who are live streaming masses and night prayers and all sorts of ceremonies and situations that pertain to Catholics, which is great. I don't think I've been to daily mass like this in a long time because I work, so it's kind of nice to get that done.
I had the ultimate like sort of meta moment this morning when my mom and dad are having they live in a nursing home, and so I'm spending time with them on Alexa every day. So I go into their room via the screen. And today they were watching the live stream of Mass for St. Joseph's feast day on their TV, so I could hear their TV. And we went to Mass and then prayed the rosary on their TV together via Alexa. I was like, wow, this is just like some kind of a weird sci-fi movie for Catholics.
I know. It's been lovely, though, I gotta say. I mean, as much as it's scary, and we're not gonna downplay that, but as we're recording this, it's a St. Joseph's feast day, and it's the middle of Lent, and and normally during Lent I start with great expectations, and then I kind of don't do so well towards the end of Lent with my expectations. Yeah. And now I'm like, it's the opposite. I started with these couple expectations, and now I'm like, oh, I can do this and more of this, and it's turned into kind of a nice little Lenten practice now, which is great.
Yeah, anybody like me who said lessen screen time, like, oh, forget that.
Right.
But
go ahead. Sorry.
I said I did see a meme out there. I'm sure everyone's seen it right now. Who said, I wasn't planning on giving up quite this much for Lent.
No kidding. I had, and one of our mutual friends, Zena, put on her Facebook, like, isn't this the lentiest Lent that you've ever seen? And I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But there's other things being live streamed for your kiddos too. That this morning, after I got done watching my live stream of Mass, I turned over to Gatorland, which is a theme park in Orlando. It's like maybe 10 minutes drive from Walt Disney World, and their specialty obviously is gators and reptiles and Florida, more Floridian like mammals and wildlife that you can find in Florida. They are live streaming every morning. They're picking an animal. And they are live streaming like them feeding it and caring for it and asking questions and answering questions from people watching. And it's really cute. So if your kids love that kind of stuff, like they love looking at animals, it's Gatorland, one word, in Orlando that is live streaming. Like this morning they had their Galapagos tortoises on there. It was so cute. They were feeding them, and they had baby alligators, and it was fun. It was very kid oriented.
Along those lines, check out the Twitter feed for Shed Aquarium in Chicago because their penguins, Edward and Annie, are nesting this week, and they're letting them basically have free roam of the aquarium and following them with a camera. So you see them just like waddling around the aquarium.
Anarchy.
Fun. Yeah. Penguin anarchy.
Are you letting your children watch some of this live streaming, or are you limiting screen time, David, or what's the story?
We'll see how this goes in the long term. The short term, they'll get some time, but the school gave them a learning packet that they've actually kind of gone through half of it already. But there's different learning apps like my oldest at 7, she can do Lexia and a couple of more educational things on there. And so they are still getting screen time. We're trying to focus the screen time to particular things. We got they are going to get more movies than usual, but they're going to at least we got them these kid specific tablets that have you approve which apps they can use on it, and you also have a timer on there, so it just shuts off when you tell it to. And we're
that's great.
And we're like, oh darn, the timer has shut off. I guess you'll have to go actually play with toys like a real kid. So it's not perfect, but it's a start, and we're juggling just like everyone else. So it's but that's where we're going. And you guys have mentioned streaming. I don't know if you guys have seen this already, but just a note to anyone who listens, if you have the option to choose HD or standard definition, choose standard definition for now. There are a number of government authorities have been asking Netflix and a couple of places to switch from using HD to standard definition because they don't want to overload their networks because so many people are streaming right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm very cognizant of that because I don't know if our listeners know, but my husband is the chair of emergency medicine at UCLA. And he's on a sort of like non-stop planning calls, like from the second we wake up in the morning till we fall asleep at night. If he's home, he's on webinars and calls. So I'm trying really to limit my bandwidth to protect his access. So yeah, it's something to definitely think about.
Yeah, 'cause it's always easy for me to forget too. But when we're using bandwidth, it's a finite resource it's a weirdly finite resource that affects literally everyone. So
no, I know that everybody's the memes out of Florida right now is like stuck at home with Wi-Fi and electricity. I give this hunker down a 5 out of 5 stars. So it's a little different than like if you're stuck in a blizzard or stuck in a hurricane or bad weather or whatever. It's a little different. I see the problem. But if you do have, you don't necessarily have to think about streaming services like Disney Plus, but we should ask, what is your favorite Disney movie? Maybe to like a feel-good movie or something you like to watch, just to put yourself in a good mood.
I know mine automatically. And I don't own this movie, but I would definitely buy this movie, which is Coco. I just absolutely love it. And especially now with the situation that my parents are in, as they're, I'm just spending so much time every day with them on screen because I can't be with them in person. But it's such a movie that reminds you of the importance of family and respecting and loving our elders. And I think at a time like this, that's an important message for all of us to remember the people that are very fragile in this.
I do love Coco. I have it on DVD and Blu-ray. So yeah, and I have trouble. I have to skip the part where the very end part where it's like Bucket of Tears because the very finale song that they sing is one of my favorites in the movie. And I'm like, if I want to enjoy that last song, the finale, I have to skip the song before it.
Yeah. I was able to interview the actor who voiced Miguel in the film. And just what an amazing young man he is. It was really fun to cover that film when it came out. And I say, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. What's yours, David?
Well, shoot. I think you may have stole my thunder a little bit because Coco's one of our, it's family-wide. It's the one we can all agree on. Dave gets a little scared of parts of it sometimes just because it, involves Land of the Dead. But yeah, that one I will break down on that one. Frozen across the board is Viv's favorite, and Frozen 2. But I like Coco, and if we're just going to my favorite, specifically my favorites, just pick something from Marvel, and I'm usually fine.
That's funny. I have to say, whenever I want something feel good, I go old school. So I have a couple of them. One of them, that's my favorite. It's a little shorter because it's actually 2 movies in one. But it is Saludos Amigos, which is the 1950s. It's a Donald Duck. It's a lot of little short features, but it's like their love letter to Latin America in the 1940s and 50s. So
is that where that ride at Epcot comes from?
That actually, the companion film, which is the Three Caballeros, and they're usually shown together, usually split together. They're technically two different films, but they're, if you ever catch it on Disney Plus, they're on the same DVD too. So yeah, that's where that ride comes from at Epcot.
That's crazy. I never knew what that was from.
Yeah,
awesome.
And so the whole point of that movie is like they sent the animators down to like Chile and Argentina and Brazil, and they made a lot of little short features that kind of incorporated a lot of their cultural roots in there and a lot of their music, and it's just a lot of great music in there, a lot of nice Latin beats in there that I think I watch it mostly for the music than the stories that are in there. But there's some a little goofy from Argentina where he dresses up as an Argentinian cowboy, and then Donald goes to Peru and and trains llamas, and it's a really cute movie. Just makes you feel good. And then Three Caballeros, he goes to Mexico, and that's where he meets the parrot itself is from Brazil, but he comes and he meets the other bird, I think a toucan, I'm just because I don't watch Three Caballeros as much, but they go to Mexico, and that's where you get the ride in Mexico is from that movie.
Okay, my next stop after this is going to go sign up for Disney Plus.
Yes.
and then I do have a couple extra, just like, I'm a Disney fan, obviously. So I always like Lady and the Tramp, but that's kind of my Christmas movie, so I don't really watch it except around Christmas as much. And then the old version, not that I think they ruined the new version, and I refuse to watch it. And then, I also, there was one more movie that I really loved, and I am trying to think of what it was, and I had it in the forefront of my head. Okay, never mind, I can't remember it. Does anybody have any other movies that they're like, oh, that always makes me feel good when I watch it?
What I want to do is go back and see if they have like a lot of the old movies, like those Computer and Tennis Shoes and The Love Bug, and like those really wacky.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Do those hold up?
I don't know about hold up. The
weird?
Computer and Tennis Shoes doesn't. I don't know about hold up, but it's still fun. It's just funny to watch a young Kurt Russell being a young Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Or like Son of Flubber.
Oh yeah,
some of those.
If we're going to go live action, my favorite is the original Parent Trap with Haley Mills. Love that movie. Yeah, that's another feel-good movie for me where I like just to put it in just if I want to feel good about, and I have a good afternoon to relax and watch that. I'm not into the remakes. I don't know if you all are, but I don't really like when what's her bucket? Oh, I can't remember her name. Remade it when she was a kid. In the 1990s. That movie's cute, but it has Dennis Quaid in it, but I didn't like it as much as the original.
Which one again?
Lindsay Lohan.
Parent Trap. Yeah. Parent Trap, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Parent Trap. I do like the new Beauty and the Beast. I liked that. I would watch that again for sure.
And just so you know, there are some hidden gems in Disney Plus that if you're of a certain age, you maybe remember these movies. One of them is Willow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I'm like, ooh, Willow's on here.
I'm going to have to find that one. They have Gargoyles from the 90s. I got to watch that later.
So there's a lot of stuff from our generation that we're like, ooh, I grew up with that. And I know Gummy Bears is on there. The cartoon series from Saturday mornings is on there somewhere, and I haven't found it yet. But I'm ready to kind of binge watch a couple episodes of that. And then you also get like Nat Geo is, a part of that package. And like David's probably loving all the Marvel movies on there and all the Star Wars movies on there. So you're getting a lot for your Disney Plus. I highly recommend it. But
and it's not just the Marvel movies. It's like obscure, laughable Marvel things you forgot existed, like Spider-Man and Spider-Woman from the 60s, Spider-Man and his amazing friends from the 80s. Just I'm like, oh my gosh, this was a thing. I forgot about this. And
yeah, it's stuff for our generation and for your kiddos. And maybe your kiddos will like the stuff that you're watching anyway. And like, oh, that's a cute cartoon. What is it? The old Timon and Pumbaa's, stuff from from 20, 30 years ago. It's on there. But, if you have some spare time and you just want to put something on there that's going to make you, feel good about what's going on, just give you a chance to escape a little, I highly recommend, having a Disney Plus day. Anyway, if Sherry were here, she'd probably tell you the same thing, but she's actually limiting her kids' screen time. She has a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old, and she told me that she is making them do PE. So she live streams workouts for them, and then she also makes them go outside and run. So she's worse than, apparently her teenager says that she's worse than any of the teachers he has, and he wishes he could go back to school.
It's going to be funny when our kids are all saying, I want to go back to school.
Yeah, but she's like, they're not just going to sit at home. They're going to learn to do all these skills and crafts. And, if I'm going to be at home teaching them, I want to make sure they're not just playing games or watching TV or whatever. They're learning at all times.
That makes me think of what I'm doing with my parents. We have a whole schedule. So we pray together in the morning by Alexa, and then take a little break, and then come back, and we do I like to do like mind games with them. So we've been playing Trivial Pursuit, and we're about to start playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So I'm the game show host, and we've devised a whole point system. And then in the afternoon, we're learning Spanish together by using Duolingo. And then at night, we're reading a John Grisham novel I read to them. So.
Yeah. I saw there's a lot of advice floating around out there too. And I know that some of our viewers our listeners had put an article from cloistered nuns about how to keep to a schedule. Like, you need to have a schedule. Here's what we do. Best practices, make sure you get up every morning and get dressed and like you're going to start your day and make your bed, and then, have some breakfast and some prayer time, and, and make sure everything is scheduled out so that you're not just, losing these hours. I'm sure by now everybody's trying to feel their way through this because it's uncharted territory. Next time we record, well, everything will maybe change again. Like Olaf says, everything changes. So we'll see next time what happens when we record this and what's going on. And maybe by then, I know Shanghai Disney, the good news, as we were recording this, Shanghai Disney opened up a few things, and they're getting ready to open up a little more. So, as we're recording this, the news out of China has been very positive, and things are starting to get back on track there, which is good. But anyway, you've been listening to The Secrets of Disney on Star Quest Production Networks. You can find more links to this discussion. I think I'll try to find a few to throw in here. And to find our previous episodes and to send us feedback, you can visit sqpn.com/Disney. You can email us at disney@sqpn.com, or follow StarQuest on social media, such as facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, or on Twitter @SQPN. Again, my name is Deborah Shaban, and joining me today was Lisa Hendy and David Hanlos.
Hello.
And go ahead, David.
I said hello.
Hello and goodbye. And thank you again for joining us on The Secrets of Disney on StarQuest. Ta-ta for now.